Oh man, we have a lot to talk about today. The Jaguars at 2-6 seem really down and out right now, but the Eagles got to keep the main thing, and do not overlook a team going to be at home that's going to be decimated in a lot of ways. We're going to be talking about that. The Brian Baldy tweet that everybody is talking about. Why the Eagles turned around as fast as they did after this bye week. And he says a lot on one tweet, and I got to talk about that too. We'll talk about practice and all that stuff. And Mekhi Becton is back. So let's get straight into it.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Hope everybody is enjoying their work week. Today is Halloween. I hope happy Halloween to everybody. My favorite holiday. But we have a lot to discuss regarding the Philadelphia Eagles. And the one thing I definitely want to talk about here, a few things to talk about, but the number one thing, Brian Baldy, you know how he does his normal plays, like he talks about obviously plays from every game from specific players and all these teams, and he usually does this on a daily basis every single week. Now, he obviously put up a play of Jalen Hurts and some play action, and obviously talking about the offensive line, really praising that offensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, somebody asked him, any idea why it took them 8 weeks to do this? Or at least, get themselves back on track. Baldy returns the favor with an answer. It says a few guys were tired of the offense and spoke up. So all of the talk between Hurts and Nick during the bye week, we thought it was a complete joke on why they're talking during the bye week and what are they trying to do, and if Nick is calling the plays, if Kellen Moore is calling the plays, what's going on? All this confusion, okay? I know at Nick as well as Doug Peterson when he was here, it has always been an open door policy where if you have a problem, if you have an issue, I've kind of been sitting here waiting for this, if players would actually go into Nick's office with issues, with problems. So we don't know which players have done it. I would say more of the offensive players and maybe some defensive players, maybe that want to get things right going down the road of this season. But man, the defense has been pretty much top 5 in a lot of categories. The offense is rolling, expanding the offense, expanding just what the offense can do, and just, guys, it's off the wall crazy right now. I mean, they have to keep this train rolling, but whatever that was said, players must have said something. I've always wondered if it was just Hurts talking to the coaching staff, or was it more than that? And it seems like Brian Baldy knew a lot more behind the scenes when it comes to, the lack of just, there's no excuse of how much the skill sets you have of this offense, what do you have on this roster? There's no excuse for it to be below average to playing average every single game. Okay. And yeah, I would say after the first game, the offense really fell off, and it just seems like that this took a little bit of time, whether it was Jalen Hurts kind of learning a new offense on top of having another new coordinator. Is it dual play calling? Is there too many cooks in the kitchen on game day? Is he learning two different offenses where it kind of seems like that in some games this off season, but post bye, it has been bar none. They have been winning the games that they are supposed to win. Okay, that we know on paper, this team looks better than a lot of teams, especially, against the Giants, coming off the bye, against the Giants, against the Browns. Obviously beating the Bengals was the next step up, and now going to be playing the Jaguars this Sunday. So, just to know that, somebody behind the scenes knows the information of that things were said, that players were like, okay, look, we need to get this right. We cannot let this happen like it did last season. 23 is going to be one of the most memorable seasons in the most negative fashion, because it was the offense never played well all in 23. They never played well at all in that season. Never had a dominating performance. I don't even think they had a game over 30 points. I don't think all year, at 10-1. One of the most not greatest 10-1 teams, winning ugly games left and right. And then this year has really changed dramatically. and they really have to follow what they're doing. I think this last game against the Bengals, Nick has really been mostly out than in. Not saying he'll never be, collaborative with game planning, but I think this is the game they had last week, which I think it was mostly complete. The first quarter wasn't necessarily their fault because, the Bengals offense was literally throwing short passes, pretty much wasting a lot of time on the clock, and third down was an issue for the defense of the first quarter. But I think we're rolling at the right time. I think the Eagles are catching their stride. They're getting hot slowly week by week. And if players spoke up, fantastic. I can't complain about it whatsoever that someone had a voice and a few players opened their mouths, and it wasn't just Jalen Hurts, it was other players. We don't know, but it happened, which is fantastic. So I think that was really big news going into, obviously, yesterday that we saw some news on that, which was pretty sweet. Now, going into the Jacksonville Jaguars, it's interesting. At 2-6, third in the AFC South right now. Okay, they're missing a lot of weapons on top of Christian Kirk. Entomine they don't have at running back. It's been kind of crazy with them. Doug Peterson, I thought, would even last as a head coach at this point. Brian Thomas has 573 receiving yards. Bigsby has 493, taking over at running back. Trevor Lawrence only has 1,800 yards passing right now. But what's kind of crazy is that you're facing a battered, really bad Jaguars team this week. Okay, really bad. Okay, they just traded their left tackle Cam Robinson to the Vikings. That's played pretty well. So the Vikings are down the Jaguars are down 3 receivers, 3 of their top receivers. They're down their left tackle on top of it. Okay, the Eagles cannot go into this game. Okay, the Eagles cannot go into this game and just feel like they can overstep this team. I don't care what they look like on paper. I don't care how bad they are with a backup left tackle, with none of their 3 starting receivers out there. Trevor Lawrence is not a good QB. I've never been a fan of him. I've never even paid attention to him. Don't think he's good at all. But they cannot take their foot off the gas just because it's the Jaguars. This cannot turn to a trap game at home. The greatest thing the Eagles have done this season, okay, when it comes to winning, is that they're winning on the road. And I think that's great. Okay, not that many home games we've played so far, but you're going to have one Sunday. This was a Sunday night game, now flexing to a 4 o'clock game. LaShawn McCoy will have his introductory with his retirement speech or whatever he's doing, on Sunday, which is great. But the Jaguars, even ranking at this point with some of their rankings, I mean, they're pretty much average. When they had starters, they pretty much were average in yards, rushing yards, passing yards, and not really good at scoring points. Defensively, they're pretty much good against the run. That's about it. Top 10 against the run. They're almost dead last in yards giving up yards per game, giving up passing yards per game, and they're almost dead last in points per game. So this offense, score as many touchdowns as possible, get the starters out, and put your backups in as early as you possibly can. Hopefully they can start to separate, or hopefully they are up by 3 or more touchdowns, 3 or more scores by the middle to the end of the third quarter, and they could at least, I don't know, try to take out starters as fast as possible. I want to get out of this game as fast as possible, clean as possible, get in those backups, and rest your guys for the next week. Because really, it's going to get crazy after this week, especially, I'm trying to remember the schedule, but you got a couple divisional games coming up with the Cowboys on a Sunday, and then you got a Thursday night game, only 4 days of rest to face, the Washington Commanders on Thursday night, and that's going to be a huge game. So you want to get out of this game. You want to get this done as fast as you possibly can. Get the offense moving. Get some turnovers from this defense. They're not a great football team, especially some of these stats are just average of what they do offensively, and this is with some of their starters from beginning to now, going into week 9 of the season. So now, they cannot look past this team. They really have to be on. I don't see why they should lose against this team. I honestly don't. They're bad all across the board. That quarterback's an issue. They have barely a run game. they're very average at best on offense, but now with all three of their starting wide receivers out, not even their starting running back there, you worry about really a tight end and the quarterback. Other than that, there's really nothing else to worry about regarding that offense for the Jags. And, I don't think they're going to be able to hold our weapons offensively. And this is with Dallas Goedert not back. This is with, obviously, your backup tackle and guard right now. A lot to talk about later in this video on that. But, the Jaguars are not a good football team, but do not, okay? And I tell you this right now, do not keep it close. Because then I feel like they're mentally they didn't take this game seriously. And they got to get things going. So that's the Jaguars for you in a nutshell as of right now with all the injuries and just bad play on both sides of the football. Okay, now to the start of practice, obviously the other day, now signed to the practice squad with offensive line Braden Daniels, offensive lineman. He was a 23 fourth-round pick for the Commanders. Could play multiple positions at guard and tackle, so just wanted to discuss that. The Eagles just like bringing in those offensive linemen that can play multiple positions pretty well. We'll see what goes on with that. Practice updates from yesterday. Goddard out with the hamstring. Darius Slay out with the groin. Jalen Carter did not practice. Probably was resting or maybe is dealing with something. A lot of players are dealing with things, so they will rest some guys regardless. Mekhi Becton was back at practice, so it looks like he's going to play this week. But the great thing about this, we have a good situation at right guard right now, a fantastic situation, because primarily I think that Tyler Steen is actually better at pass protection than Mekhi Becton. And I thought Tyler Steen was better at pass protection. I thought he was better, especially in his run blocking. I thought Tyler Steen was really good. So they have a very good thing going on at right guard right now, especially for the future. If Mekhi Becton's re-signed and, Steen is still here, if Mekhi Becton becomes like the replacement for Lane Johnson for the future in a couple of years, because Lane Johnson, will retire within the next couple of years, most likely. But having him back at practice is fantastic. It's awesome. I think there's probably a lot of Eagle fans that want Tyler Steen to stay in there as the second. You know what I mean? Like, why not? You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens with this, but Mekhi Becton being back most likely means you're getting your right guard back, which is a great thing. Fred Johnson still at left tackle. Fred Johnson, what he did to Trey Hendrickson last week, and shouldn't have any issues really this week. Obviously, we'll see where some of the edge guys are going to be, with Trevon Walker and what's going on there, what some of the matchups are going to have. But I thought, Fred Johnson's done well. Mekhi Becton's back, and Tyler Steen is getting some starting quality, is getting some value at least. The Eagles see this of what he's doing, and I think Jeff Statlin's really happy. It seems like the offense didn't miss a beat. It's like our starters never got hurt at all to have these guys backed up right there. So I thought that was really good. During practice as well, Britton Covey was out there doing some work off to the side, and this could be a really good sign that he is going to be back really soon into this offense. Just imagine, okay, Britton Covey has 7 receptions this year. He's got more receptions than Jahan Dotson right now. I would love to be a beat writer or a fly on the wall listening to the conversation of why Jahan Dotson is still not getting involvement. Okay, if they can put Covey in plays and use him in specific ways, I understand he's got all speed, no size really, and use him in that open space. I really liked how, I know they kind of tampered with that at the end of last season in 23. They kind of started to put him in the offense. It just didn't look great, but I appreciated them trying to do that. And then they did it this year, and I thought he's looked pretty damn good. And he will be back as a punt returner. Cooper DeJean will not be at punt returns for long, in due time. So we'll see that whole entire situation unfold. I don't know when he's coming back. I would say maybe a couple more weeks and he will be back. So we'll see what happens. The Eagles are not going to waste their time bringing him back when he is officially cleared and he can get back to special teams and obviously get more involvement with this offense. I don't know why you trade for Jahan Dotson, can't even involve him like they were kind of involving Covey early this year. So it kind of gets me a little confused in that because the draft compensation you gave up. Now, Landon Dickerson did not practice today. It looks like he is dealing with a wrist injury and might have to get maybe, I don't know if it's surgery or whatnot, but he might have to clean some stuff up with his body next off season or as early as possible as the season ends. He played hurt during the game, against the Bengals. Offensive linemen are always hurt all year. Like everyone's always dealing with something. So he took a rest day today. We'll get back to practice later in the week, but this is something we definitely have to monitor going forward. Trying to even see like who could play left guard at this point. I mean, you're going to have to move some guys around, most likely yet again, if he goes down. But knock on wood, I think he'll be fine. And just has to monitor the situation. So Dickerson just having a little bit of a resting day there. But other than that, that's pretty much it. I know I was ranting a little bit today, but obviously the Brian Baldy tweet, what did you think of it? Players going in Nick's, coaching, the coach's room and saying, we got to fix this during the bye. So a lot more was going on during that bye week than we realized. And Brian Baldy heard some news behind the scenes of that, which I think is awesome. We talked about the Jags rankings, the Jacksonville Jaguars in general. What do you think of Jacksonville? Do you think this is an easy win? Do you think this is a team that you can't overstep and treat lightly because you're going to end up, in a really bad situation? Because mentally, if they can't take care of them, physically and mentally can get some points on them, the way their offense or their defense is, it's really bad. I mean, the Jaguars are one of the worst teams you're facing this year. I'm surprised Doug Pierce is not fired at this point. So let me know what you guys think about that matchup. And obviously, practice. Do you like Tyler Steen better at right guard, or do you think Mekhi Becton is better at that position? You guys let me know in the comment section below. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. It's our video or update for the day. Sorry for going back and forth this video, not knowing what the hell I'm saying half the time. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news. Make sure you like this video. It helps our channel tremendously. I thank you so much for joining and listening to me today, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes what up. Follow us. Peace out, guys. Peace.